Welcome to Conor's Crew, a podcast about positive people doing positive things. I'm Conor, and this show is all about speaking to people who take action and make the world a better place. Today's episode is with Craig, one of the people behind Eat Crisps, an app built for crisp lovers where you can rate and review crisps. You can also discover new favourites and connect with a community that takes crisps very seriously. We talk about how to go from an idea to building an app. And of course, we talk about all things crisps. Let's get into it. Hi, everyone. Today I am with Craig. Craig, how are you today?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate your time today. For people who don't know who you are and what you do, tell us a bit about yourself. What do you do?
Yeah, hi, I'm Craig. Full-time job, working in warehouse automation, but I'm here today to talk about the Eat Crisps app, which is run by myself and a couple of friends. So if you haven't seen it in the App Store, we're going to talk about it today.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, tell me more about this Eat Crisps app. What made you decide the world needed an app about crisps?
There's a bit of history behind this. So I've always been what we call in amongst my friends as a crispaholic. So even my mum dug out a picture of me sat on a beach somewhere in Cornwall with my hand in a bag of skips. The old school proper skips, as we like to say. And I've always loved crisps. Everyone knows I love crisps. And sort of as my friendship group developed, I found another friend that also loved crisps. This is when we were living in Oxford, which I'm sure everybody knows, relates to it via the university normally. And yeah, we're sort of looking at the crisps and thinking, well, we've eaten so many. How do we know what we have tasted and what we haven't tasted, and what were our ratings? If things changed over the time. So, sort of 4 or 5 years ago, said, should we just do an app? Should we make an app? And that's kind of where it got stuck. We didn't really know how to make an app. I have an IT background, so I know a lot about IT, but making apps is a different coding level. But one day, myself and my best friend had a few beers, also eating crisps, and we said, should we just do it? And I think maybe a few beers pushed us over the edge, and we kind of committed to do it. So then it's been over a year. So I think it's about February 2024. We launched it. So yeah, it's been over a year now of in the ether. And it's slowly growing. Yeah, so we have Eat Crisps now. And as far as I know, it's the only crisp review app in the world in the App Store. So I'm expecting some competitors now.
That's absolutely amazing. And I love how the idea started. It sounds like it's something that you're passionate about, your friends are passionate about. You were just sitting there talking, having a few drinks, having the crisps there. And the idea came, you thought, let's go for it. And it's really great to hear that you had that idea and you were all behind it and you just went for it. I think that's fantastic. Um, what is it about crisps that makes it so good for a social app? Because I've been using this app and I'm addicted. I think it's amazing. Why are crisps so good for something like this?
I mean, we took inspiration from apps like Pint Please or Untapped. So I used to track things like that, and obviously people are into tracking calories, what they consume, those types of things. And crisps is massive in the UK. I think we're the second or third biggest market in the world, and we're thinking, how has this not been done before? How cool would it be? Yeah, so that's kind of where it came from.
That's amazing. What was the first version of the idea compared to what it's like now on the app?
So initially, I did it through wireframes. So when you're designing an app, I had to go on a bit of a journey about how to design an app. So you build it with wireframes, and you have to understand what the user experience will be, what happens when you click certain buttons, and how screens transition. So A lot of the design and how the app initially worked, version 1.0, was done by myself with feedback from my friends. But what we actually had to do for the first iteration is for the actual core app design template is we had to outsource it. We've all got full-time jobs. We had to push that piece to somewhere else. But I did all the IT infrastructure. I did all the connections, all the security behind it. So version 1.0 was actually just a rating and review app. You could put a few comments. You had a basic profile, and that was about it. And I'm sure we'll probably get onto what it has now and how it's evolved, and it's self-developed now, so everything is in-house. It's pretty much me. I am 95% of the development house. My friends are the other five.
That's fantastic. And when the app first launched, what were some of the reactions?
I mean, we expected a massive big bang. We're like, this is the first crisp app in the world, as far as in the UK. We pushed it and we're like, this is great, but it's all about market presence. And what we learned is, I modeled it on Pint Please Untapped. They take 4 or 5 years before they become big, but the initial feedback we got from the first few people that kind of been our loyal followers. So if you look at the leaderboard in the Eat Crisps app, you'll see some people kind of at the top. Most of those are my friends, but there's one or two mentions in there. But they gave us great feedback. They give us ideas for improvements, much like yourself. So those are like, why haven't I had this before? Why doesn't this exist? How have you guys thought of it? Those types of things. So it's quite reassuring that we're kind of on the right track, and people do appreciate it.
That's great. And I'm just opening the app now and checking my position on the leaderboard. I'm currently number 36, and I can see you in the number one position. I think I've got a bit of catching up to do. But it's fantastic. Whenever I'm checking it, I'm seeing it growing. I'm seeing it growing, and I think that's brilliant. It's a lovely community, and I love seeing what other people are trying if they're in other parts of the world. I
Mm.
think, oh, that looks really nice. And you mentioned Untapped. Yeah, I'm familiar with that app, and I think that the model, it's a great model because it's enjoyable and it builds a sense of community, and it kind of opens your mind to the other things that are available, whether Untapped is for beers, this is for crisps. I think these apps, they're just so enjoyable for that reason, that they can introduce you to new things and this lovely community. Um, so so what you mentioned, did you know how to code before starting, or did you learn as you went? I mean, how much did you already know at the beginning?
So building an app is quite a journey, and I'll go into a bit of history. I won't keep everybody too long, but I knew how to code from other languages. So, but the language specific to the app we built, I didn't know, but they all tend to follow a set structure, and that's the bit you do have to learn, and the logic and those types of things. So, I needed a base to start from, and this is where we got our template, version one. Everything after that is now being taught or learnt. So, as I said, about for the past 9 or 12 months, I've been doing it myself. Everything, bug fixes, features, the lot. We just needed that initial release. It took a development house like 4 weeks to build with, I think, 4 or 5 people. That's 5 or 6 months to me, just sat and locking myself in an office, and I can't afford to do that.
Yeah,
But certainly there's building the app, and people go, yeah, I can build an app. I can get AI to vibe code an app. And you're like, great, but you've got to get it into these app stores. You've got to get it into the Google and Apple app store. And that was the bit that no one teaches you. So you have to go through all these approval steps. You have to comply with age regulations for every single country in the world if you're deploying it to every single country in the world. Apple will test. They put it through like a test farm of computers, basically, and they try and test it on every single version of iOS on every single device. If your app fails, so it crashes on startup for an iPad, I don't know, SE or something, whatever it may be, your app gets rejected, and you have to go back to the start. And you have to go back through the approval process. Same for Google, runs the same type of processes, but every update you release has to be vetted and approved. So the landscape is changing all the time. America are bringing in some quite strict rules on apps. Australia have just brought in the social media ban. We don't fall under that because we don't have messaging capability. We only have comments.
Mhm.
But there's
Yeah.
certain regulations that we have to comply with. You'll just get an email and go, you've got 2-3 weeks to comply with them. So you think just running an app is actually quite easy.
Mhm.
I didn't expect this piece, to be honest. This is the time consuming piece.
Oh, absolutely. And I think when people are using the app, they see the face of the app and they may not appreciate the amount of work that goes into it. And there's so many challenges. And as you say, technology, it's always evolving and new regulations can be coming up. But that sounds quite challenging, which makes it even more impressive that you've got this lovely app. And I know you mentioned AI, but the fact that you've done this yourselves, when I'm looking at the app, I can see it's been made with love and care. I can just see the effort that goes into it, and I think that's fantastic. For yourself, what was the hardest technical challenge overall in building the app?
Blimey, that's quite a broad a broad question. I think understanding the data logic between getting it from the app to the database, because the language I was trying to learn was different. And at the end of the day, it's just what we call data models. It's how data gets from A to B, how it's mapped, and how it's presented in the app. Certainly, this language is something I never come across before. There's no visualization behind it, so you can't see what you're programming. It's all in numbers and letters kind of thing. Um, Probably say that was the hardest bit. I mean, if we were going to say technical feature to release, probably the push notifications. If you wanted to pin me down, to develop the push notifications to consistently work across Android, Apple, old Androids. Old Apple was probably the hardest bit, but I think for me, I think listening to feedback, it added the most value because people are getting updates when they're not looking at the app. I think that was probably the biggest achievement so far. I would probably say personally, but we need to speak to the consumer.
Yeah.
That's you.
Well, yeah, I think the notifications are really great. I also love the newest feature where you can follow people on the app now as well, which is great if there's someone that's doing lots and lots of crisp updates and they're doing crisps that you've maybe not tried before. I think it's where you can follow them and then get that notification. Really gets you hooked on the app. It gets you hooked on the app,
It is.
which is fantastic. Over the years when you've been building this app, have there been any moments where you nearly gave up on the idea? Have there been any moments like that?
I've never given up, but there have been times where I've said I need a 4 week break basically from doing
Mm,
releases because I'm quite self-driven. So I've got my next features lined up, but it's like I've just released the follow unfollow
yeah.
feature. Like it's kind of becomes a second job. My wife probably says second job when she's listening to this. Work by day, and then at night I'm like, oh, okay, I need to keep working on that feature, or I've created a bug which is annoying people. That frustrates me a little bit, but sometimes you just have to go, let it run for a bit. There's nothing that will cause people to get so angry that they turn off. There shouldn't be. If there is, then obviously I'll fix it. But there have been moments where you just say, I need to not work on it for a while. Just let it sit, enjoy what we've got, and then come back fresh with
Mm.
maybe some new ideas. So, I think everybody goes through that type of cycle, whether it's developing an app, working, doing a sport, even. You just need a bit of time out to regroup.
Oh, I completely agree. And it's great that there's this steady momentum behind the app. I think it's always improving, and there's constant feedback from the people using it. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's got the momentum and the energy. And looking at the community within the app, well, why do you think people enjoy rating and ranking food so much? What's the fun in that? Because it's so addictive.
I think part of it is the community or people liking something you've eaten, you've rated. I think the other thing is there's almost like a bit of a competition for people to find the newest crisps and get them
Yeah.
posted first. Certainly, I have kind of that. Now I have less time. I'm not in the supermarket looking at crisps every 5 minutes, but people are doing it via the app. So I see it, and certainly the international crisps is or the international community is great, as you mentioned earlier. Seeing what people are posting from like the Netherlands, for instance. There's quite a following building from the Dutch community over there, and that I think that's grown because the app's now in 5 languages, which is something that actually helps. That was another big step forward. But yeah, I think it's that place to track what you've rated. Have you had it before? It's that community spirit, I suppose, via an app, if you could believe that. And yeah, it's trying to find that newest flavor or that newest crisp, so you get the recognition of a thumbs up or a comment.
That is the best feeling. I remember I uploaded a crisp that was not yet uploaded to the app, and there was this eureka moment. It's fantastic. I thought no one's uploaded this one before. It's lovely. I'm the first person to it. Hopefully, I can experience that again. Since the app's been running, what things have surprised you? Have there been any surprises along the way, good or bad?
Um, what would I say to that? I think there has been some negative feedback, I'll probably say, from the app, which always kind of takes a back foot because you think, well, I'm doing this, or we're doing this as a hobby, and you kind of think, oh, that was not nice, but you kind of get used to it because I suppose it's for people that have probably got a big social media life. People can be quite cruel when it's not to your face. So that's probably one of the negatives about over the time of running this app. But I think it's to happen. It's going to happen someday. You just got to how you deal with it. I think the best one of the best things is I hit probably 40 this year, and to my name I can say, or to our names, I keep saying to our names, I can say I've got an app in the App Store or the Google Play Store. That's probably, I don't know, it just feels exciting at the same time. Doesn't matter what it is, but in my 40s, I managed to deliver an app that sits in the App Store, and it's about crisps. That's a pub story.
It's awesome. It's awesome because what you've done, I think that's what everyone wants to do. Is they want to add something to the world, and you've created an app. It's there. People can use it. People can enjoy it, and I think it's something that it brings joy. It's a bit fun, and it brings a sense of community, a bit of fun. And you've given, you and your friends have given that to people. I think that's really powerful. I think that's really powerful. What makes a strong community? How do you make a strong community within an app?
I think the features that build the community are the interactions.
Mhm.
So definitely people liking stuff, commenting on things. Certainly, as the app's grown, you see more likes against crisps now. You see more comments against crisps. You see almost like in some of the crisps, you see a bit of a conversation on where did you get them from. Um, I thought they taste differently. Perhaps I had a bad batch, and then you look at the follows and unfollows, and it kind of goes down the lines of Instagram. Well, look, I've got 10,000 crisp followers in the Eat Crisps app. Those types of things start to build it and grow. And when people start talking about it naturally builds itself. As long as you've got the features to do it, I shouldn't need to be there pushing things eventually. It should just be the community and the app runs itself. And that's ultimately what I get to. I want to put my feet up at some point.
Yeah, that's great. I think I really like the idea of the community moving it forward and keeping that momentum. So I'm going to move on to the big questions now, the ones everyone's waiting for. What is your all-time favorite crisp?
I knew this was coming. It's really difficult. I tell people I don't have an all-time favorite that's like a top three, but you've asked the question. See, if past, it would have been probably pickled onion monster munch, but they've gone downhill in the past couple of years. You only get like 3 in a bag or 5 in a bag.
Mm.
But I'm probably going to say salt and vinegar discos.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. That's a good answer. And I appreciate it. It is a really hard question. It's like asking someone, what's your favorite song? It changes every week. Changes every week, doesn't it? For me, it is the Smiths bacon fries. I think
Oh,
they are amazing.
nice,
I love them so
nice.
much. Classic sort of pub crisp. You get them in some of the shops as well, but I absolutely love them, and they've been a favorite for a long time. But I'm exploring the app, trying to find one that can knock it off the podium.
Uh,
Maybe one day.
I'm,
Maybe one day.
I'm
Oh
sure
no, this.
if you search by bacon, I think there are quite a few alternatives in there. There's quite a few own brands that are quite close. I don't think they quite get the texture quite
Yeah.
right, but flavor wise, I think they're probably spot on. Well, you're gonna have to go on that journey. I think you're gonna have to try and buy every single um, flavor.
Yes, I'll be yeah, looking through all the bacon crisps on the Eat Crisps app. I agree. I've tried a few and some of them, yeah, similar flavor, but yeah, just not quite hitting the spot, but close anyway. And well, this next question, this is a hard one. What is your least favorite crisp? Is there anyone that you just think, get that crisp away?
Oh, there was. I'm not a fan of truffle crisps. Just trying to think. I have, yeah, I've definitely had ones where I haven't finished the pack. I would probably say at the moment, ones that are just inedible were the knickknacks super hot. I can't remember what they were called, but
Yeah.
they came out. They're in like a slightly multicolored packet that recently came out, and they were just too hot. They weren't enjoyable. So I rarely have to fold the bag over and put it to one side. You know, once I've opened the bag, it's down in one. But these I had to put away, and I like that was disappointing. You know, it's disappointing to open a bag of crisps and not enjoy or finish them. So yeah, it's got to be
Yeah.
those knickknacks, super hot, whatever they were called.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
What about yours?
I might alienate some listeners when I share my least favorite crisp. It's probably Quavers, cheesy Quavers. I'm not a big fan of them. Not a big fan of them at all. Um,
Is is it the cheese or is it the texture? You know,
it,
what's according to the star rating? If you're going to rate it by crisps, you know,
yeah. Oh,
flavor,
that's
texture, rate.
Yeah, that's a really important thing to talk about. What I love about your app is that there's a flavor rating and a texture rating. So like if someone says, "Oh, I don't like this crisp," you gotta get the details. It's not enough to not just like the crisp. Tell me more. What is it? And I think for the quavers, it is kind of the texture of it because generally I kind of like cheesy crisps, but those ones just don't do it for me. And overall, I'm not as much a fan of the kind of airy crisps,
Mm.
you know, where it's kind of light. I guess my favorite ones are kind of like the thick, ridge ones. But all of a sudden, I've just lost half my listenership in 10 seconds. But we'll keep going anyway. Um,
People just need
yeah,
to get on the app and rate what they
aye,
think's their best crisps.
yeah.
Ignore the least favorite.
I when I'm using the app, I realize I rate just about everything 5 stars. I only rate the ones I enjoy. I need to try some ones that I'm maybe not so much a fan of and just explore my palate, I suppose. But is there a flavor that you think is underrated and deserves more love?
Oh, let me have a look. I'm going to open the app up now because there are some. I'm going to go to the top rated. I'd probably say brown bag crisps have got some cracking crisps. It's sat at the moment. It's sat at 14th. The oak smoke chili. I think that deserves to be a lot higher up the score.
Mhm.
It's a crisp you generally find in the pubs, and it just goes so well with a whatever you're drinking, alcoholic, non-alcoholic beverage.
Nice, good answer, good answer. For me, it's probably Mackey's crisps. They're crisps we've got up here in Scotland. I think they're just classic. They're kind of like a kettle chip, that kind of
Yeah.
taste and stuff. I think they're underrated. A lot of people just don't know about them, but I think they're lovely. All the Mackey's crisps. Um,
So that's
what
a
is the?
interest.
Oh yeah,
Sorry, let's say, Connor, that's the thing that kind of blows my mind that we've got regionalized crisps because Mackey's we just don't get down in the south, and we just had a one of our followers on Eat Crisps on Instagram, very very kind, sent us a box of crisps from Ireland because we can't get a lot of the crisps over here, a lot of the Tato branded crisps over here, and you're like, how's that a thing? You know, we're all together, but they just don't seem to cross the border or get across the sea, whatever may be. So yeah, I've never had any Mackies. I don't think. Are they in the app though?
Yes, I think so. Yes, they're fantastic. They do really good ice cream as well. In case anyone's listening and wants to make an ice cream app, I'll be the first person to jump on that one. Yeah, Tato's lovely. I do think it's odd that there are these sort of borders with crisps where you've got these crisps here and then eventually they just disappear once you
Mm.
move somewhere else. What is the most controversial crisp opinion you have?
Oh, okay. Here we go. So there's another podcast that I listen to related to crisps, and they talk about mini cheddars. Is it a crisp or is it a biscuit basically? Um, and I think I because I run the Eat Crisps app, I think that there are limits to what I allow in there. Pork scratchings I don't allow because it's pork scratching. So I do have to administer some things in the app as well, Con. I have to correct things or maybe remove things. Um, but if something is in the crisp aisle, generally, then it's a crisp.
Yeah.
Sometimes mini cheddars are separated. They're in the snack aisle, but it depends on the supermarket you're in. But generally, if it's in the crisp aisle and people associate it as a crisp, then it's a crisp
Mm.
to me. Um, so that is probably the controversial thing. A corn puff, technically, it's not potato based, it's corn based, but people associate it as a crisp. And for the community, I think it's important that you rate what you feel, and if you feel it's a crisp, stick it in there. Pork scratching is not a crisp, though. That is
Yeah.
pork based.
Well, there's got to be rules. There's got to be some rules and some boundaries, otherwise it just becomes chaos, you know?
Or
Um,
there'll be chocolate bars in there and everything. It's a
hey.
nightmare.
It's a sequel to the Jaffa Cake debate, the mini cheddars.
Yeah, it
You
is.
got
It is.
yeah. If you could invent a new crisp flavor, what would it be?
Oh, flipping heck. I mean, I'm a massive prawn cocktail fan, but
Hmm.
to invent a new one, I mean, there's been quite a few. We just had potato candy floss. That was interesting. You might have
Oh.
seen those rated in the app recently.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey. I've had the champagne crisps. I'm trying to think. We've had the beer crisps. There isn't much that hasn't been done.
Mhm.
So I might have to pass on that one, Connor. I think all the manufacturers are doing a cracking job. Certainly, they're pushing the boundaries of
Mm.
what's allowable. We've had the Guinness crisps, we had the candy floss crisps,
Yeah.
had the champagne crisps. Yeah, I think that one's gone past on me.
Ah, that's all right. That's all right. If I could invent a crisp, I'd maybe go well in Scotland we've got square sausage, or like or Lorne sausage or square slice. It's got different names in each part of Scotland, but I'd maybe do one of them if it's not been done already. I feel like everything's been done, but they always find something new, don't they?
Was gonna say we've had haggis. I think there's been haggis crisps more
Yeah,
recently in the past, at
they're
least the
good.
past 6 months.
They're good.
You know, was it last World Cup or your last Euros where Walker's brought out a load of flavors? The Coronation chicken flavor. I think there was a sausage roll flavor. Kind of any food that hasn't been, that is out there has probably been done. What do you do next? Strawberry flavor crisp? Actually, I think those have been done. You kind of just think of a food and go, well, let's put it on a crisp. But is that one that I would really like to make? I don't
Yeah.
know. Very good question. That one I'm going to take away and come up with an answer.
Oh, good stuff. I could see the strawberry crisps would be good for something like Wimbledon or something like that. But
Yes,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
each crisp has got a thing. That's another thing. It's about what does the crisp pair well with? So it does it pair well with a certain drink, with a certain environment, with certain company. There's just so much that can change the experience of a good crisp.
exactly.
Looking ahead to the future, where do you see the app in 5 years' time?
Oh, good question. Right, so I try and run it like you asked, like where do I see the app? So I sort of set targets on every year and what want to do and how far I want to push it. Like I think it'd be cool if we had a screen like Untapped in a pub that's true crisp first, where you could see the ratings of or the most purchased crisps in the nation, or what the top rated crisp is at the moment. I think that's quite ambitious. Crisps would have to be huge to achieve that. But I think if we became quite big in the UK and perhaps Europe, I'd be happy with that. Obviously, America's quite a big market, and they call it chips. So do a lot of European countries. It's chips. So I think just to get push that international community a bit more. But 5 years, blimey, I can't even predict what's going to happen next year. But 5 years, I don't know. It could have all gone wrong, or it could be a billionaire putting rockets into space with crisps. I don't know.
I'm predicting big things. I'm predicting big things for the Eat Crisps franchise. For people listening who maybe have an idea, maybe they want to do an app, or they just have any sort of idea, they want to get started, but they don't know where to start. What advice would you give them? What inspiration would you offer?
So apps are probably split into three skill sets. You've got the people that need to run the infrastructure. You've got people that design the apps. Unfortunately, the IT sector is quite siloed with skills. So if you wanted to get into designing an app, the key bit is the idea and having references. So if you wanted to get into it, what do you like about other apps? Take screenshots, analyze it. Which bits do you want to take into your app? How do you see it working? Because you need to give all that information to someone that essentially going to create it for you. And at the end of the day, if they just code but they don't have the vision, they need literally a download of your brain and your vision to give to them. It's about finding the right partner or the right person to be able to do it. We're quite fortunate I'm able to do end to end myself. It's just a skill I have. But obviously, for those that haven't, you need to be able to write down and collect your visions and be able to communicate that effectively to the right person who will steer you in the right direction to get your app or whatever may be into the ether.
That's a great answer and a lovely way to finish. Craig, it's been a pleasure meeting you today. Thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed speaking with you and learning about Eat Crisps. I can't wait to hop onto the app again and review something else. Hopefully, review something new. Find the best bacon crisp there is. And of course, I want to end by saying that crisps can be enjoyed as part of a healthy and balanced diet. Craig, thank you so much for your time and have a lovely day.
Thank you very much for having me, Conor. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Conor's Crew. I hope you enjoyed hearing Craig's story and got inspired to do something positive in your own way. Remember, it only takes one person to make a difference. I'll see you next time with another guest, another story, and more of the same good energy. Take care.